Hi guys, it's Sam from Creatively Sam's, and today I'm making homemade minestrone soup. It's a lot of prep work, but it is definitely worth it. If you want to see how I made this, stay tuned. It's coming up next. Okay, what you need is some olive oil, 2 tablespoons roughly. Carrots, about a cup of chopped carrots. A couple of stalks of celery chopped. A clove of garlic minced. Some spinach. It calls for baby spinach. I don't have that on hand. I got regular because that's what I have with my breakfasts. A cup of potatoes, peeled, diced, rinsed. Medium onion, chopped. Okay, I'm going to prepare the veggies and get those started, and then we'll go on with the next step. Okay, over a medium heat, I'm going to heat up the olive oil. And I just like to make sure that there's enough to cover the bottom. And once that starts to heat up, then I'm going to add the onions. The carrots. And the celery. And I'm going to let these vegetables cook for about 3 minutes. And now that I can hear that the oil is hot enough to make these sizzle just a little bit, I'm going to let these cook for 3 minutes. And I'm going to keep it on the medium heat, stirring occasionally. I've had a lid on these to help them cook all the way through a little easier. Okay. Now that the 3 minutes is up, I'm going to add the potatoes. And the garlic. Give these a good stir, and I'm going to let these cook 3 to 5 minutes, or until the potatoes start to soften just a little bit. I'll check them in 3 minutes, and if they're not done by then I'll put them in for 2 more minutes. Okay, I can already tell by looking at it that it needs the additional 2 minutes to cook. I forget what the name is for doing your vegetables like this before you do a soup. I know that I've heard it called sweating, and then there's another term. But for some reason, it gives it a richer flavor to do it this way instead of just dump everything together. Okay. I'll do it for 2 more minutes, and then we'll go on to the next stage. I don't know if you can see that the potatoes are already starting to soften just a little bit. But these are ready to be added in with everything else. Okay, phase 2. Okay, to the vegetables, we are going to be adding a 14-ounce can of diced tomatoes, a tablespoon of tomato paste, And these cans are going to be drained. Can of kidney beans, all I had was the dark red. The light red's fine too. Can of green beans. A can of peas. Can of garbanzo beans. Garbanzo beans you definitely want to rinse and drain. Low sodium chicken broth and water if you need it. Penne pasta, you want to cook that, rinse it and set it aside. Salt, pepper, and basil. Okay, I'm going to open up these cans and do the draining, and we'll be back. Okay, all the veggies are in, and now I start in adding the cans. And we're going to start with the diced tomatoes. And I'm putting in a heaping tablespoon of tomato paste. And you can see over there I have the water starting for the pasta. And any small pasta will work for this. I'm using the penne, but even baby shells will work just fine for this. Alright, you got the tomatoes and the tomato paste. Can of kidney beans. Now notice, most of this is already cooked because it's canned. So once you get to this point, you really don't have to cook all that long. There's the green beans. And the peas. Garbanzo beans. I'm going to add the chicken stock. And this is low sodium. Like I said, I've got to be careful with how much salt I put in me, because I will blow up like a balloon. I think this is going to be enough, but if I need a little more liquid, I'll just add water to top it off. Okay, and we're going to let this cook for a little while. Until the potatoes are totally tender and the carrots. And I'm going to say about 30 minutes. And by that time the pasta should be done, and we should be able to add the pasta and the spices. I'll be back. Okay, there's about 3-4 minutes left of the 30 minutes, and I'm going to put a couple of handfuls of spinach in there. And about a cup of pasta. I might add more. And since spinach only takes about 3 minutes to cook, this should be all cooked down by the time the 30 minutes is finished. And I'm just going to put a little bit of salt and pepper in here. And you know me, I put very little in, if any, and you can always add more when it's served. And the basil, just give it a good sprinkle. And it's probably about a teaspoon. Alright, I'm going to stir this all up. I'm going to let it cook for the rest of the 30 minutes. And I'm going to serve this up and let it cool down and give it a taste. and we'll be back. Okay, this is just about done. I'm getting ready to plate this up, and I'll let it cool down before I taste it because, as you can see, it is scalding. For those of you who don't eat meat, you could very easily use vegetable broth with this instead of chicken broth. And I think you can use it if you're vegan. I don't know. But anyway, we'll be back to give it a taste. Okay, this is cooled down enough where I'm going to give it a taste. Oh, Progresso. Eat your heart out. This is so good. Me personally, I could use a little more salt, but then again, I am a saltaholic. But this is absolutely amazing. If this doesn't make my son happy, there's something seriously wrong. If you like what you saw, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe. And happy creating, everyone.